MC for this session. We would like to welcome you, especially our online audience and the people physically here. We thank you for taking time to be part of this event, and we're grateful that you have been able to join us. We're going to start our program this morning with our anthems. We'll start with the Uganda Anthem, and then that will be followed by the East Africa Anthem, and then we'll move on to the Makerere Anthem. So we would like to get up on our feet and officially start this function. Thank you very much. Oh.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Makerere, Makerere, we build for the future, the great Makerere. Great, great and mighty, the walls around thee. Great, great and mighty, the gates beside thee. Great, great and mighty, the walls around thee. Great, great and mighty, the gates beside thee. From east and west, from north and south, all voices singing arise, Makerere. Rise up and rise, high up and high, all voices singing arise, Makerere, Makerere, Makerere. We build for the future, the great Makerere. Great, great and mighty, the walls around thee. Great, great and mighty, the gates beside thee. Great, great and mighty, the walls around thee. Great, great and mighty, the gates beside thee.
Thank you very much. And again, I would like to welcome you all, both physically and our online audience, to this dissemination workshop entitled History Meets Demography, Resource Contestations, Mobility, Citizenship and Conflict in Uganda's Albertine region and beyond. I would like to say that this is in collaboration between the University of Makerere and the University of Pretoria in South Africa. And we are really, like I said before, glad to have you as part of our audience, both physically and online. And we're truly grateful that you would be part of this. We're going to have a rich menu today. We'll have a keynote address later on, and then we'll have breakout sessions later on as soon as we're done with this opening session. To start us off, I'd like to welcome the chair of the coordination committee, Mr. Nicholas Tunamuche, to give his opening remarks. Thank you very much.
the Dean, School of Statistics, and other deans present here, heads of departments, Operation Studies, Dr. Wandera, and head Department of History, Dr. Mafumbo, our distinguished invited guests, panelists from the region and beyond, members of the coordination team, Ms. Deborah, Grace, Godfrey Mayende, Isaac, and all the session chairs, scholars, academia, and the industry. You are very much welcome, and I say good morning today and good evening for the afternoon. Fellow participants present here physically and virtually, I welcome you all in this segment of our book writing project, which concludes the project. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme for this workshop, History Meets Demography, Multidisciplinary Inquiry on Poverty, Resource Accessibility, and Mobility in Uganda and beyond, fits well in the general objective of early career research leader fellowship to offer the opportunity for development and research of leaders who will be able to fill the critical gap in the African research capacity ecosystem. We received quite a number of abstracts, but out of the selected, we managed to select 24 who will present their abstracts and a number of presentations that will constitute chapters of an edited book, which is going to be published by Pablo. Dear participants, therefore, ensure that you do very well, so that out of these 24, about 8 can be developed into chapters that will constitute our edited book. Dear physical and virtual participants, we are committed to offer you the best at Makerere here, and therefore feel free to contact any of us. For instance, if it is a technical issue, Dr. Mayende is around and can be reached on godfrey.mayende@gmail.com, and Isaac at Wasima is physically here. Please, you are in safe hands, and I wish you a very productive deliberations for this workshop. I remain yours, Nicholas.
Thank you so much, Nicholas, for your opening remarks. Again, like we said, this is between Makerere University and the University of Pretoria in South Africa. And we are really, like I've said before, grateful to have you on board. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. John Shami, who is going to give us an overview of the Future Africa's Early Career Research Leader Fellowship Program. Dr. Shami, you're welcome.
Thank you, Isaac, for this. Colleagues, participants, both who are virtually attending and physically attending, I'd like to welcome you. I'd like to observe the protocol by acknowledging my head of department, Dr. Stephen Wandera, the Dean, who is represented by the head of department, the DVC academic, Professor Umar Kakumba, who also happens to be an alma mater of the University of Pretoria and Makerere University. And thank you for accepting to grace this occasion. To also thank the Future Africa Director, who is joining us virtually through a video presentation, and my mentor, Dr. Corey Virenga, and for the years I've been with you at the University of Pretoria. And also want to thank everyone and welcome everyone who is here in your full respective capacities. And I want to thank you particularly for taking time off your busy schedules to listen to us today in this dissemination workshop. I'd like to congratulate those who submitted in their abstracts to escort me on this dissemination workshop, and want to hope that we'll really go beyond the presentation but we will hope that we can come up with a tangible output of an edited book, as Nicholas has mentioned. Thanking the coordination team of this workshop that has worked tirelessly to bring us together amidst different challenges, and I want to appreciate you thus far. So my name is John Shami, and I teach at the Department of Population Studies, Makerere University, School of Statistics and Planning, the College of Business and Management Sciences. I was given an opportunity to participate at the Early Career Research Leader Fellowship, which is designed to run away from the norm, to change from the log normal by allowing young people, I hope I am not young, whatever that means in academia, to allow young people to spend time at a University of Pretoria and join the rest of colleagues in both science and humanities and co-create knowledge for development and transformation of Africa. I am delighted that I have been joined by my colleague, Nicholas, who happened to be my fellow together with him at the University of Pretoria. And I thank him for making time to fly in and be here with me as I do a dissemination conference. I want to appreciate this initiative. It was the first of its kind in Africa, because we are used to taking leave from duties from academia at a much later time in life, where we have professors take sabbatical leave, and this opportunity was not really given to young academics who had just finished their doctorates. So within 5 years of my finishing the doctorate, I was given an opportunity to spend 2 years at the University of Pretoria, to take time to interact with other people from different disciplines and from different universities in Africa, and to just appreciate this initiative that was funded by Carnegie Corporation in New York, but also supported by the University of Pretoria at the Future Africa Institute at the University of Pretoria. My talk today will be explaining what I went through, what I think I gained, but also what I think should be the outcome of this presentation, and also the outcome of my engagement with both of you who have submitted your abstracts that we accepted and shall be presented in different sessions today. I took up this offer in 2019 and 2020, and I must say that it has been a fruitful collaboration engagement with my colleagues in the different disciplines and different universities in Africa. About the Early Career Research Leader Fellowship, this is an endeavor, or this is an initiative that intends to grow African academics in thought leadership, team development, stakeholder engagement, and collaboration, with an intention to stimulate the emergence of centers of excellence to solve complex problems that face Africa and the world. Since I have enough social distancing, I will ask that I remove the mask I had forgotten I'm used. These days, we cover the mouth all through because of the pandemic, but allow me to remove it as I speak. So the Early Career Research Leader Fellowship, as I mentioned, grows African academics in thought leadership, team development, and stakeholder engagement and collaboration. And this is intended to stimulate emergence of centers of research excellence that solve problems that face Africa and the world today. And this initiative was the first of its kind, and I hope that the rest of you could follow up on the following programs that are going on at this institute in South Africa. So the initiative was supported by the Future Africa Center, which is an institute at the University of Pretoria, and supported by the Carnegie Corporation of the New York. It grows African academics into different cycle of leadership, and this is what we appreciated for us who participated in this program. Particularly for the 2 years, the fellowship intended to connect disciplines within the natural and social sciences and humanities. It also intended to encourage mutual learning and joint problem solving to create sustainable solutions in a real world context. It also engaged in co-creating Pan-African network of researchers that are geared towards advancing a new paradigm of African science. It strengthens the research of the fellow with the home institution, but also with the host institution. My hope is that my mentor at the University of Pretoria will find time and interact with Makerere University, where I come from, if travel restrictions allow in the future as part of the outcome of the fellowship. It also advances the development of research program at a home institution. And in this context, I have proposed to team leadership that I would like to have all your abstracts that you present into an edited book that will be published within a year from commencement. And finally, the program promotes interaction between University of Pretoria researchers, but also with academic leaders in Uganda. With my participation at the University of Pretoria, I was able to interact with various disciplines, science, humanities, and in different countries. And this, to me, was a thought leadership that the fellowship intended to achieve. Future Africa presents an academic and residential para where you find time, resources, but also an enabling environment to take time to read and work and improve all cycles, all manner of academic development by the fellow. We were opportune to have an opportunity to have about 15 researchers from different disciplines, and we spent time together. We did training together, and we've not been the same since we participated in the program. We also, as a part and parcel of the fellowship, we had an opportunity to co-create the vision of Future Africa and bringing young scholars and academics on board. And in this context, we would actually say we were not just invited to participate, but we were invited to co-create what we think is a future of African academic leadership. So to me, as a fellow, the Early Career Research Leader Fellowship involvement was life-changing in terms of how I view different disciplines, how I view other researchers, how I view research and an academic career. And to me, Future Africa became my home of scholarship, and I could declare that I was there and participated in the co-creation of Future Africa science leadership. This was not brought to us on the table. We participated in various co-creation workshops, and I can declare that just like the rest of my colleagues, that we were there and we co-created it together, and we know what is evolving towards this transformation of Africa. Mostly, we participated in intra, trans, and extra collaboration within the University of Pretoria and beyond. And while at the university, we had time to collaborate with other fellows from the different countries and disciplines, as I mentioned before. On personal leadership and development front, I was given an opportunity to use the time at the Future Africa to document my PhD journey and publish my memoirs as a PhD candidate. And I'm happy to present that I was able to present a paper, to develop a paper in honor of my PhD life journey with my supervisor, presenting a very special situation that I found myself in, being supervised by an office mate who is extremely senior and who is extremely revered by everyone around me. And I mentioned in the paper that I enjoyed living and working in a serene environment because my supervisor was feared by everyone and I never got any visitor in my office. And that gave me an opportunity to actually write my PhD. While he was seated with me in the office, I was able to be supervised as though he never existed, because myself, I feared him as well. May Professor James Manyanya Ntozi continue to rest in perfect peace, because he passed on not many months ago. I ask that members, we stand in honor of the services Professor James Manyanya Ntozi, my supervisor, my mentor, my friend, and my colleague, did to Makerere University, Africa, and the world in the area of demography and population studies. May Professor James Ntozi's soul continue to rest in perfect peace. Thank you. You can sit down. As a fellow at the University of Pretoria, I was able to contribute and participate in capacity building and mentorship and different other programs. There are areas that we take for granted as researchers and academics in Africa. If you ask me, my take home for the 2 years on the different trainings I participated in were different areas of training, including research management, coordinating and participating in research grant writing. And I can attest to this, that for me, this area of leadership was lacking even as a PhD graduate at different levels of leadership. The outcome, I'd like to just give a highlight on the outcome of my fellowship time. I set out, when I was going to South Africa, I set out to do literature, to understand, to investigate, and to continue reading around different areas that are centered on 3 issues that I consider key problems in Africa. One was resource, particularly land, contestations. We know that about 5 countries in Africa and more have discovered oil deposits in their country. We've been wondering whether this actually translates into development. And this is one of the areas I was introduced to by colleagues and mentors. And today, I also want to use this chance to declare that I have asked one of my mentors in this area, Dr. Peter Wekesa, to stand up because I participated with him in this area. And I'm happy to report to him that I have continued to actually do research in this area, and my colleagues that he has come with from the university, from Kenyatta University in Nairobi. We welcome you and thank you for making time to come and join us. I also thought I would investigate, I would continue reading and improving and contributing to research and scholarship on citizenship questions and migrations in the Albertine region. And on this note, I was able to acknowledge the need for historians. And as I was reading, I came across works of some of the colleagues in Makerere University. And I am happy to announce that I met one of my colleague, Nicholas, to stand up, who is in history department. and who has helped coordinate this workshop even when I'd never met him. I have not been in the country, and I met him just yesterday when I came, and he has made this happen to our surprise. Nicholas worked with two other colleagues, Deborah and Grace, Grace, who is a PhD fellow in gender and history, and Deborah as a research fellow at the Center for Population and Applied Statistics. And to me, this is what I was taught as research leadership and collaboration. I don't need to have been born with you. We don't need to have to be speaking the same language or same nationality to work with you. Nicholas coordinated this when I've not met him. I even have people that I don't know that are partly here. I'm sure Dr. Karunji, I've not met you before, but here we are meeting on the podium. And to me, this is what we call scholarship, fellowship, and what I've trained. My brother, Isaac Tibasima, was a call away as a fellow in the academic journey. And we are here and forming and making things happen because of scholarship and training that I received during this fellowship. So my hope is that I also invite you to participate in questioning these areas of resource contestations, citizenship questions, and ethnic and migrations in different countries. And the book that we shall publish will be going beyond Uganda, and we hope that we can have different disciplines come on board to work with us on this book. I'll continue with a few outcomes of my fellowship at the University of Pretoria. I was able to take time off from the family responsibilities, from the day-to-day traffic jam of Kampala, and I put together and contributed to over 12 research articles that were published, including 2 book chapters, and participating in 3 research grants that actually did not go through, but it was postponed for future success because my ideas did not probably reflect the areas of concern or the areas of funding. And with that, I'd like to thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for accepting to participate, and may the collaboration in scholarship continue from now and always. I wish you fruitful deliberations in the course of the day. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shami, for that interesting overview. And one of the things we pride in at Makerere is interdisciplinarity in our studies. So if you come to my department, you would understand what it means to be a literature person, and I'm into folklore literatures, lots of stuff in nationalism and history and performance, and this is what we are about. And Dr. Mshomi has really explained that in the best way possible. I would like to invite the University of Pretoria mentor. Rachel Fisher is online. And Rachel, I would request you to please accept your promotion to panelist so that you can address us as a congregation here. Rachel Fisher is online, and please accept your promotion to panelist so that you can address us here. Thank you very much. Rachel Fisher from Pretoria is going to represent Dr. Corey Welenga as the University of Pretoria mentor. Thank you very much. Rachel is online. We need to sort something out, but she says she's getting on in a few.
Good morning, host. I am online.
Yes, Rachel, you are online and we can see you. Would like you to address us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to indicate that I cannot use my video. Is it fine if I continue with sound only?
That is perfectly fine.
Okay, so as indicated by our very gracious hosts at Makerere University, Kali Sebu, and also Webalenyo, it is absolutely our honor and pleasure to attend virtually on behalf of Future Africa at the University of Pretoria. This project, as very clearly indicated by Dr. John Shami, has been an initiative funded by the Carnegie Corporation of New York, and then also championed by Future Africa and its partners across the African continent. Some of you might know that the Carnegie Corporation of New York is quite active in a number of countries across the African continent, especially in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. But it does not mean that the networks do not continue to grow as these collaborations extend. In particular, we see with this conference today how very important it is to work with a transdisciplinary mindset and engagement towards forming partnerships and to collaborate across various disciplines. We can clearly see now also in the time of COVID and the shift from going offline, or if I can say in brackets, in real life, to online and virtual collaboration is an active endeavor towards breaking down silos within these disciplines, within our partnerships, and then also across our various countries on the African continent. John indicated that he just met Nicholas, and it just shows you that how in such a short amount of time, even though that we all engage via email, electronically, or WhatsApp, or whichever social media platform you are using, we still form these bonds and relationships with one another in support of our shared objectives. Now, the theme of this conference being held and hosted by Makerere University is in consideration of the resource contestations, mobility, citizenship, and conflict, specifically in Ugandan's Albertine region and then beyond. The focus then considering the multidisciplinary workshop. So once again, bringing together various disciplines, considering history, demography, and the engagement with scholars within academia, practitioners in public and private sectors, and also non-governmental organization and civil society organizations, which once again shows how issues regarding resource contestations, citizenship, conflict, right of access to information is something that is applicable to all of us, notwithstanding the fact in which society or industry we work in or who we specifically represent. The themes that will be covered in the next few hours and today are going to touch on governance, security, peace, and conflict. The second theme looks at global trends in interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research, mining, resource extraction, and policy frameworks, as well as education and development. Now, certainly, we are all aware of the Sustainable Development Goals as we are now entering this decade for change. considering we are now in 2021, striving towards 2030 in achieving these goals that we have set on ourselves. And in many instances, we might still agree that we are far from achieving these goals, even though it is an active endeavor on all sides. If we consider SDG 4 and how that looks at education, we see how we all have a responsibility towards making education more accessible across all age groups. So not only in primary and secondary education, but also tertiary education, such as with universities and other colleges, towards promoting lifelong learning. It is only through this that we could support our citizens to make them more literate, make them more information literate, to help tackle these issues that we can experience once we consider resource contestations, mobility, and citizenship and conflict within these regions. Not only are we dealing with the SDGs and the 17 goals that have been set upon us, but we also need to consider the African Union Agenda of 2063. So that gives us approximately 40 years that we should achieve these goals in promotion of what it means to be African and how to prioritize Africa. The African Union Agenda has got 7 or 6 specific aspirations, and I believe all of these aspirations are specifically being targeted in this event. The first being a prosperous Africa that is based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, with a number of goals and priority areas. If you consider this first aspiration, we could see the related SDGs, spanning from ending poverty in all its forms, but also making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. This is specifically SDG 11. But then if we consider the ensurement of healthy lives and the promotion of well-being at all ages, we certainly can see how we should prioritize these items in our discussions today. Together with this, we see other priority areas within the AU agenda, such as economic diversification and resilience, agricultural productivity and production, water security, biodiversity conservation, and sustainable natural resource management. We have to ensure that there is an integrated continent that is politically united and based on the ideals of Pan-Africanism and the vision of an African Renaissance. This means that we should work towards a united Africa, sharing our goals and objectives and working together towards achieving these shared aims. Considering the SDGs, we have to build resilient infrastructure that promotes inclusive and sustainable industrialization and to foster innovation. Certainly, if we consider conflict and conflict resolution, we must ensure that our natural resources and human resources are protected and promoted through these engagements. We all want to see an Africa for good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and the rule of law. When we look at these items, the goals that we should achieve are the democratic values, practices, and universal principles of human rights, justice, and the rule of law entrenched across all sectors of society, allowing not only for a top-down approach, but also a bottom-up approach with the collaboration of government, civil society, academia, and the private sector. This allows for capable institutions and transformative leadership, which is in place. And this we can see through the leadership at Makerere University, your networks and collaborators in achieving this event that you're hosting today, and the results forthcoming, not only from the ECRLF funding from the Carnegie Corporation of New York, but also the projects and activities that you will implement after this event. This will allow us to have a peaceful and a secure Africa that is stable and fully functional, making sure that we prioritize the values and ideals of Africa. And finally, this will allow us to achieve an Africa with a strong cultural identity, with common heritage, values, and ethics, allowing an Africa whose development is people-driven, that relies on the potential offered by African people, especially its women, the youth, the elderly, and the caring for all children. And just a final note, once we consider the importance of this theme that is being discussed today, we keep in mind how important social protection is for those that are vulnerable and people that are left behind when we consider progress made towards the fourth industrial revolution, but also the lagging effects that illiteracy has on our communities. That means we must champion corporate social responsibility and enact our own personal and professional responsibilities towards adhering to the triple bottom line of promoting people, planet, but also profit that allows us to progress and going forward and strengthen these communities. Therefore, once again, on behalf of Future Africa and the University of Pretoria, I wish to thank you for this opportunity and for inviting us to be part of this event. The Director of Future Africa, Professor Sheikh Mabo, has also prepared a pre-recorded presentation that will be played within his allotted session in this program. I thank you once again, and we look forward to observing the rest of today's proceedings.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for that presentation, but also taking us through what Future Africa really does and the Early Career Research Leader Fellowship. I'd like now to invite the Dean, School of Statistics and Social Planning, who is represented by the Head Department of Population Studies, Dr. Stephen Wandera. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. My name is Stephen Wandera, the Vice Chancellor of Makerere University, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, Professor Omar Kapumba, University of Pretoria, mentor to Dr. Shami, Dr. Corey Mulenga, and our keynote lecturer, Professor Sheikh Mabo, the principals of different colleges of Makerere University, deans of different schools, heads of departments, and in a special way, my colleague, the head of the Department of History, academic staff who are listening in online, the participants to this great workshop who are online, and some of them here in this room, and a very special recognition of our dear colleagues from the Kenyatta University, Nairobi, Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring you greetings. I'm trying to read the verbatim speech from the Dean of the School of Statistics and Planning, Dr. James Okadala. The School of Statistics and Planning takes great pride and honor in hosting you at this function today at Makerere University. As the Dean, I'm delighted to see mentors, early career researchers, and colleagues get onto this trajectory of research, because it's what we are as a school and as a university generally. Thank you for being part of this great initiative. As already stated, the Future of Africa's Early Career Research Leader Fellowship is a collaboration between Makerere University and the University of Pretoria. I would like to specifically thank Dr. Corey Welenga for spiraling this to where it has reached. I'm most grateful for the trust you have put in us to see as partners and to work with us toward an academic fruit which we will enjoy as the two universities. Early career researchers are the vision for tomorrow's African academy. At Makerere University, we believe in academic growth. This means that we do our best to foster free and enable research environment that allows our researchers and academics dream big and fly high. Dr. Mushomi, who is already here, has done this to his best, and I'm very glad that he has brought more people on board so he can fly with them and see them grow with him. Thank you, Dr. Shami, for this great heart. Part of our work and belief at Makerere is fostering a rich research environment. I'm sure the DVC will talk about some of the critical aspects of our research agenda at Makerere University and how we aim to create research that's relevant to the needs of our communities. Our pillars as a university are research, teaching, research, and community engagement. And part of this, we do not only encourage staff to engage in research and publications, but we also encourage them to work with the students and to collaborate and co-publish as a means of mentoring the young generation of African academics. I'd like to thank all of the staff and students who have engaged in this endeavor. I'm very grateful to the University of Pretoria for the collaboration in this project. And it's important to note that research in Africa has tended to be determined by the North with their own intentions. And this comes at a time which is very disruptive globally. However, when African solutions to African problems are sought, we are sure to be able to obtain what works and what does not work. So a collaboration among African academics helps us to do more comparative studies across the continent, allowing for nations to learn from each other and pick best practices and opportunities that can work for us. The University of Pretoria has given us the lead, and we can only keep learning as we develop solutions to our problems and create research relevant to our African needs. Thank you very much for this. The most exciting aspect of this project is graduate training, especially at the level of the PhD. And this is part of the agenda of building capacity for the African Academy. I also see the potential of our staff and students to be able to have a keen interest in doctoral programs. I'm glad this has not been neglected on this project, and we can be sure that our next generation of African academics will be solid in all aspects of research, teaching, and mentorship. I thank Future Africa for this endeavor and sacrifice. We at Makerere do not take it for granted. And lastly, I would like to thank you all for being part of this dissemination workshop. Pray that we all learn a thing or two from this, work together to enhance the academy and build solutions for Africa that are bred on the African continent. Thank you so much for accepting to build Africa even in these disruptive times. Let these deliberations be the start, greater collaborations and endeavors to come to build for the future. So this is, I was reading verbatim from the speech of the Dean, the School of Statistics and Planning. As an acting head for the Department of Population Studies, I just want to make a few points that I thought would be relevant for this meeting. First of all, I really want to congratulate Dr. John Shami for completing his postdoctoral research experience at the University of Pretoria. We're very grateful that the UP gave him an opportunity to work with them. And it has culminated into this exciting workshop for us. I just want to highlight that one of the challenges we sometimes face as emerging early career researchers is that when you are raised and bred from an African institution, there are normally quite a lot of challenges that you encounter, especially in growing to become an independent investigator and researcher. So I really thank you, John, because I know you are on your way to building capacity to become an independent researcher and to becoming a strong research leader on the African continent. And you have exhibited quite a commendable ability to collaborate and to foster interdisciplinary research. I'm very excited about the theme for today, which is when history meets demography. This is an illustration of how disciplines can work together in a collaborative way to address African problems and foster greater growth in the continent. And secondly, I'm very excited as a Department of Population Studies, we are very excited that the objective of this workshop is to make sure that there is a product, a publication in the form of a book. I really am happy about this because as a department, we have a history of working on similar projects. The first time which we did this was when we wrote a book in honor of Professor James Ntouzi, and it was led by our department with colleagues from geography. And then the second time was when we worked with colleagues across the university and from outside the country to work on a book that was launched by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda during the Union for African Population Studies 8th African Population Conference in November 2019. And this work was spearheaded by the department. I'm also very glad that this book, which is envisaged, is going to be the third output. And currently, as we're speaking, we have colleagues from the School of Statistics working on another book. And so this is very exciting for us. So I'm very glad that John be encouraged to be able to push this forward to the very end. And if you need any support from colleagues and from the department, we are available to be able to give you the support. I'm very excited. The third issue is that I'm also excited about the themes for the conference. I saw they're quite engaging. They focus on the Albertine region in Uganda and even beyond. And I just did a quick scan of the ideas and the papers that have been submitted for consideration. They are very exciting themes. And I'm very glad that our colleagues from Kenyatta University are carrying on the work we engaged sometime back on the MPRAM project, which focused on mobility, poverty, resource accessibility, and migration. And this is very good for us. And finally, I want to say that research collaboration is the way to go, especially interdisciplinary collaboration. And I'm very glad that this is the beginning of many of us working as demographers together with historians and many other disciplines. I'm very glad that this is happening at Makerere University and University of Pretoria. And we look
Hello? Hello, hello. Good morning, our dear audience here present, and good morning to those of you who are in our virtual system. Professor Umar Kakumba, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Dean, School of Statistics and Planning, our dear scholar, coordinator, manager, you're now wearing very many hats, Dr. Mishomi. Thank you very much for inviting us and for giving us an opportunity to participate in this. It gives me so much pleasure to be here this morning to lead one of the important sessions, but also to thank you, Dr. Mishomi, for this great opportunity you've not given only the Department of History, but other departments, other friends, other scholars, other academics. I think this is a true spirit of collaboration and partnership that you have demonstrated. You were very clear in stating the purpose of why you went away for the 2 years, but clearly the benefits of your visit have exceeded even the 2 years. What you have done is built a strong foundation on which early scholars can now grow. You have built a firm foundation that demonstrates that collaboration is very, very critical in such a unit which is being championed by many, many other scholars like yourself. You stated that the future of the African centers that are going to grow out of this and probably have already started growing are aimed at bringing together people to think about solutions for the problems that we have in Africa. And you highlighted the most critical issues that we have, which are resource issues over land and oil, citizenship crisis that we are struggling with right now, and ethnicity, which has characterized many of all the conflicts that we have had in the Albertine region. Your selection of the Albertine region is not only timely, but I think what you have done is set also another pace for us to think through what has been happening in the last decade, where this region has suffered intractable conflicts, disease, and that how else could we contribute to that? I would like to echo the words of Dr. Rachel, who ably demonstrated that this transdisciplinary approach to managing scholarship is very important. Grounding and framing all your work within the African Union Agenda 2063 is but, again, one other milestone in which we see what is going to happen today in all the papers that have been presented. I also would like to say in my own words that as a head of Department of History, I'm very honored to be here, and I'm glad that you raised the role that Nicholas has played. You're fortunate to have met Nicholas. We are proud of Nicholas, and he has done many other projects like this in the department. They may not be the magnitude of what you have done, but I know that I think what you have done is built a strong foundation for him in which he can do even more. Thank you for this. This, in a way, you have mentored him, and I believe that we shall see so much more. I would like finally to say that our Dean, in his presentation and as the head, I think, again, you've underscored the importance of collaboration and how comparative studies across the different units, across the different universities, might be the solution that we are waiting for to solve Africa's humanity and especially the safety and security issues. I think the Sustainable Development Goals that we all allude to, both 4, 16, 11, that have featured in these discussions, simply are reminding us of our important role in whatever we do, in whatever we teach, to make sure that they are framing the kind of interventions that we propose. So thank you very much, Dr. Shami. Thank you for the funding agents. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite the Dean again to please invite the Deputy Vice Chancellor to open the session. You're very welcome, Dean.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. I want to take the opportunity and the privilege and the honor to invite the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs of Makerere University, Professor Umar Kapumba, to address us and to open the workshop. Thank you.
Yes, many thanks to you, Mr. Dean, and a very good morning to you all, colleagues joining us in the CTF and those joining us in Makerere over the virtual spaces. It's a great opportunity for me, dear participants, the government officials who are here attending and following up, and across the Makerere University different media platforms, the representatives of the University of Pretoria, the keynote speaker, the mentor of from the University of Pretoria, Dr. Corey Wailenga, the university college leadership, scholars, doctoral students, practitioners from the region, members of staff of Makerere University, all workshop participants, the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. I am privileged and honored to participate in the dissemination workshop of the Future Africa's Early Career Research Leader Fellowship. On behalf of the management of the university here at Makerere, I wish to extend warm greetings to you all and also take the opportunity to join previous speakers in warmly welcoming you to this workshop. In a special way, permit me to recognize the speakers and participants who have joined us from the different places of the world. But in a special way also permit me to applaud the University of Pretoria with support from the Kennedy Corporation of New York that has overseen great capacity development of future academia and also African leaders. I saw in the audience Professor Stephen Barton. I know Professor Stephen Barton from the University of Pretoria, who's been the DVC research previously, but also providing leadership in the establishment of Future Africa. I want to applaud you on this great move, the University of Pretoria, and standing in to demonstrate the great potential that Africa has, especially the academic institutions, in mobilizing resources, but also on putting together the African scholars, giving them an opportunity to explore, but also work together, the South-to-South collaboration, which is very, very visible in these endeavors masterminded by the University of Pretoria. As the Dean has alluded to it, early career researchers are the vision of tomorrow's academia, but also empowering them to build solid research helps not only those who have already advanced in the academia, but also gives them the chance to be mentored by the very best. So collaborations, I should say, as our institution earmarks such strategic partnerships, collaboration with the universities, including the University of Pretoria, helps a great deal in building a solid academia across the continent, We can speak to and about our problems as a continent, but we also have the duty of spearheading the problems, of addressing the problems and find homegrown solutions that are largely based on empirical research. Of course, this blends harmoniously well with the whole idea of building the African researcher. And also, it's part of our mandate and obligation as academic institutions to find solutions to emerging problems of our society. Like today, you'll agree with me that COVID-19 has devastated this world. And obviously, even when the poor countries are trying to mobilize little resources to access vaccines, you cannot easily buy, even where you have money. You cannot easily find the vaccines to buy or access, even when you have the money. So this gives us a huge challenge, but also a good lesson for us to focus very, very much on addressing the fundamental problems and issues that are facing the African continent, and where university institutions have a greater role to play. And we can't play this role as university institutions outside the shadows of partnership within ourselves, and also without building the huge capacity of the early career researchers. You know, all evidence has shown that research has huge dividends that it can provide to addressing problems, but also to growing economies. Economies that are built on founded policy, on evidence-based policy, on evidence-based and local relevant solutions have higher levels of sustainability than economies that largely thrive on handouts. So for me, in this endeavor, when I see this particular workshop concerned about issues of history and demography, then it gives me great hope that the opportunity to cross the boundaries of the academia, the opportunity to cross and go beyond the silos that we had formed are really getting to bear fruits. So we are able to dialogue on history and demography, and we are able to see how we can address issues of poverty, looking from our history, looking from the experiences we've gone through, and also being able to interrogate the nature of our population and the characteristics that affect our society in various ways. So this is an important relationship that takes stock of our past as a society in order to forecast the future, addressing cultural and economic potential. It's indeed an opportunity to nurture the nascent African scholars as leaders in this multidisciplinary project, will no doubt contribute to the building of sustainable African political economies. And in many ways, we expect this to provide a transformation to the livelihoods of our people. When I look at the discussion that will go on, including the split panel discussions and groups, I see themes like education, development. I see many themes that relate to the economy, the politics, the governance, the identities. I see issues related with the natural resources, management. And of course, we know that developing economies face huge challenges in the midst of progress, amidst all these different areas of consideration. For example, when you talk about mining, and I know many of our countries are well endowed with resources, mining is important for our energy development, but it also brings about questions of resource sharing without compromising the development agenda. So while we must be able to exploit and utilize the resources, we should be mindful about the future. And that's why the whole argument about sustainability lies. So this workshop shows that the African academia is interested in time-specific, but also demographically relevant research. And I would like to take this opportunity to applaud you all for the commitment to the cause of the African development. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also glad that this is not just a discipline-specific project. As the precurrent speakers have clearly indicated, people had not met. John Mushomi had not met the Dr. Karunjis of history and probably the Isaac of literature and many others. But through this discovery and the opportunity to be placed, okay, as an lecturer at the University of Pretoria opened the wider spectrum of understanding and appreciation of cross-disciplinary or interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary engagement. So as you are aware, fields of academia need to be coherent and they need to feed from one another. And this calls for collaboration, definitely. And the array of disciplines represented here clearly demonstrates a move towards a stronger university and towards a stronger African collaboration. Let us continue to learn from one another and each other institutions to build each other and work towards creating solid research so that we become more relevant than we have been, so that we are able to take these universities and institutions of higher learning away from the ivory tower, and then we become impactful to the society and the livelihood of the people who are looking up to us as institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't intend to take really a lot of words in my communication, but all this I'm saying is really in appreciation of this great endeavor and great effort that has been championed through collaborative effort. And as the university, we appreciate so much, once again, the University of Pretoria for its support project. Similarly, we recognize and congratulate our Department of Population Studies in the School of Statistics and Planning in the College of Business and Management Sciences for enabling this project here, and also for coming back with the champion in the names of John Mushomi, working together and putting together this project that will also see further sharing of knowledge through the book. I'll be very, very much keen and I will be very glad to see this book coming out. It will demonstrate the potential that we have, but it will also demonstrate the great opportunity for others to work together. So once again, special thanks to you, Dr. John Mushomi, for the work and time put into this work. I would also like to thank the Department of History and CHUS, College of Humanities, Social Sciences, combining with the College of Business and Management Sciences. I want to thank the participants, the coordination committee, Nicholas Tunanuche. I'm informed you've rendered a great hand in coordinating this, and thank you for working with us as the university management in seeking a better proposition, a strong value proposition for Makerere University, and also an opportunity for us to fast track the achievements that are enshrined in our new strategic plan 2020-2030. Ladies and gentlemen, it is permit me at this juncture to take the honor to declare this Future Africa Early Career Research Leader Fellowship Dissemination Workshop open, but also permit me at this juncture to bid farewell to the effort that is putting together the book project that will transcend our specific disciplines. As we build for the future, I thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me. Thank you. Sorry, Charlotte, I cannot hear you. I don't know whether the rest of people joining virtually can hear you, Charlotte.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor, for those very informative words and kind support. And everybody, please join me in thanking Professor once more with one loud clap. And I take this opportunity to welcome our keynote speaker, Professor Sheikh Mbowe, who will be addressing us shortly. Professor Sheikh Mbowe is the director of the Future Africa Science at the University of Pretoria. And he's very versatile. He holds doctorates from the Chief Sheikh at Diop University and University of Copenhagen. He also holds another PhD from the Sheikh Diop University in Dakar, Senegal, in remote sensing and environmental science, as well as a Master of Science from the same university. There are so many things we would like to say about Sheikh, but I'll try as much as possible to list those that I think are most rewarding for us in this session. Chief Mbowe is a research professor. He's an executive director of START International in Washington, DC, and the lead scientist on climate change at the World Agroforestry Center in Kenya. He's an adjunct associate professor at Michigan State University, Department of Forestry, and he works on global change research capacities for developing countries in Africa and in Asia. His area of interests are so many, but he has worked on land productivity and climate change and has had the honor of being able to manage research teams in climate change, adaptation, environmental risk. And for the last 23 years, he has been an active researcher and raising funding and developing research in education partnerships. No wonder we are having him here at a time when we are celebrating this honor of having young scholars, young researchers cohorting across different regions to develop Africa. Sheikh is currently also blessed with about 120 publications on various sustainability issues and proven transdisciplinary expert on food security and sustainable production in Africa. His other works focus on natural resource management, capacity building, and translation of scientific information to decision makers and various stakeholder groups. In brief, I would like to say three other things about Sheikh. In his earlier rating and awards, Sheikh has been the Danida Alumni Prize winner. He has been a fellow for the Danida for 1997 to 2000. He's a visiting scientist award winner in Michigan, in NASA, in START, as I already said, and he is also rewarded and known for his Global Land Program Fellowship. I want to say that this morning, we are very lucky to have him to talk to us and give us the keynote address. We have a full detail of his bio that we can share, but that for now, I would like to take this opportunity to invite Professor Sheikh Mbowe to address us in this keynote. Thank you very much, Professor.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheikh Mou. I am the director of Future Africa Institute at University of Pretoria. It's very unfortunate that I cannot be with you today virtually to address the participant of this important workshop, which is related to the poverty in Africa, resource in Africa, and migrations and people's mobility in Africa. I thank the organizers very much for giving Future Africa the opportunity to address you today. Future Africa has been doing this work in different countries for different topics. We have been organizing workshops in Uganda, and another fellow was doing the same as our colleague today. We did it in Ghana, we did it in Nigeria, we did it in Malawi and the like. The reason why we are trying to empower the early career scientists is actually to be able to close the loop in terms of availing science to decision makers in order to package and deliver knowledge to everyone who needs it, particularly the stakeholders. Today's topic is very timely. It's about poverty in Africa. It's about resources in Africa. It's about mobility in Africa. Talking about poverty under the COVID situation, Africa has been in a very difficult situation. The poverty line, which comes to being stable at some point or increasing quite slowly over the projected years to come, has just suddenly go to a spike. Africa now has more than 50 million new poor people coming into the statistics of the World Bank. And this is very worrisome to cause concern. Worrisome because if you take the reasons why COVID has happened, the reason why poverty is spiking is because of COVID, to one instance. The second problem we have in Africa in terms of poverty reduction, the challenge we have in poverty reduction is climate change. You have seen that climate is impacting most of the natural assets endowment that the African communities has in terms of agriculture, in terms of water, in terms of fisheries, in terms of livestock development, and many more aspects of our daily life. Some projection has shown that people who was getting out of poverty at some point went back to poverty just because of climate change. The third reason why is it so important to talk about poverty in Africa is the issues of conflict, armed conflict. Just close your eyes and travel from West Africa to East Africa. You will go over Mali. Now Guinea is under difficult situation. Chad, Darfur, you come back to the Horn of Africa, Somalia, and South Sudan. You come down from north to south. You go from Libya. The situation in Libya is terrific. You go down to eastern DRC Congo, Cabo Delgado, etc., down to South Africa. There is no place in Africa where there is no conflict. And conflict is an impediment for the development of the country. So when all those things happen, what really comes in terms of solutions, there are humanitarian urgencies, interventions, food supply to people who are poor. What they really need is information. What they really need is knowledge. To do what? To unleash the potential of natural resources that exist in Africa. Africa has 60% of the best arable land on earth. More than 70% of diamond, of oil, of cobalt, of everything you would imagine in terms of natural resources. Yet we are very poor. What do? We have to train people. We have to raise capacity. We have to empower our youth. We have to create what we call the bottom-up approach with community to resolve these issues of development in Africa. People migrate. People move from one place to another to look for opportunities. And Africa is not lacking opportunities. Africa is not lacking ability. Africa is lacking the due knowledge that brings those opportunities into the space of use and applications in different spaces. So my point is, if this workshop managed to bring the knowledge that the policy needs to improve their implementation, to bridge the implementation gap, to see where the innovation that can be scaled up, to do the replicable tools and framework that the policymakers need to improve the life and livelihood of people, then we will bring something on the leadership program that will be unique selling point, what Future Africa has tried to bring to the fellows, and particularly to this fellow doing this workshop today. We are very pleased to know at least that this one is organized. It has all the human dimensions we need. When we talk about research, we're not only talking about hardcore science. There are all aspects of lives that matters to knowledge. And that's the reason why I say this topic, which is a transdisciplinary topic, which is connected different disciplines, is actually one of the most important discussions that we would have in this ECRL Forum. I wish you well. I wish you great success for this workshop. I'm looking forward to the outcome of this in order to share it widely in a Pan-African arena where people can really not only learn from the approach that has been used, but from the outputs that has been established in order to move the knowledge forward. I wish you well, and thank you so much for the opportunity to address the community today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheikh, for those very, very resounding message for this workshop today. The knowledge and the importance of how we need to solve the problems that we have, the empowering of communities. And he underscores the fact that Africa only lacks the knowledge, the due knowledge. Otherwise, it has all the resources it demands. And the future of the transdisciplinary approach to this knowledge creation is going to be extremely pertinent. I'm humbled as an historian to hear the word Pan-African from 1945 to now to the African Union. It's a very, very historic moment for us. And please join me in thanking Professor Sheikh for the keynote address. The keynote address will be available. The link will be available to all those who may require it. And at this moment, I would like to say you are welcome to our first tea break, which will be served in the room just above. You take that corridor upstairs. There is a place where we can take some tea, and then please be back here. We'll be back here by okay. Dr. Mayende says we should have a working tea because other participants are waiting on the links. Could I please invite that we serve the tea and then come down and we start the next session? Thank you very much, and thank you for being here this morning.
For our online audience, there are links that you are going to use to join the different parallel sessions. All parallel sessions are virtual, and so we request that you follow the links that have been sent to you in your mail and on the program. Thank you very much.